Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Transform with MG podcast, where we'll talk all things transforming your health, body, and mindset. This episode is a continuation of my previous episode, where we talked all things secrets to balanced hormones. If you didn't get a chance to listen to the previous episode, let's just recap on the first 5 secrets. 1. To start the day with a balanced breakfast, have your first meal within the first hour of waking up. 2. Eat a high protein diet. 3. Optimize your sleep. 4. Get in morning sunlight. And 5. Stop having caffeine on an empty stomach. So these were the 5 top secrets out of the 10, and I'll be sharing the remaining 5 in this episode in order to keep your hormones happy, healthy, and balanced. If you haven't got a chance to listen to it, you can press pause on this episode, go back and listen to the first 5, and then you can return to listening to this. Before we dive into this episode, I just want to say a huge thank you for the support on this podcast. It hasn't been going unnoticed, and I love connecting with you, hearing whether you found this valuable, what you have found valuable, and whether you're enjoying this podcast. If you do want to send me a message, please do so. My Instagram is at its_Martina Good. So that's at its_Martina Good. I'd love to hear any feedback from you. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, just take a second to hit that subscribe or follow button. It honestly means the world to me. So now let's get into the remaining 5 secrets so that you can enjoy stable energy, curb those cravings, and transform how you feel and look. In the previous episode, I shared the importance of having balanced hormones and how hormones are our chemical messengers that control absolutely every function in our body. So if there is something off, even a small tiny change in your hormones can have like a profound change on how you actually feel internally. So it's not something to be ignored. So the 6th secret to balanced hormones is to include healthy fats in your diet. For years, we were led to believe that fats are the bad guys, and it's fat that make us gain weight, and it's fats that lead to risk of heart disease. And now, even to this day, there are many women that are avoiding fats if fat loss is their goal, and they associate eating fats with actually putting on body fat. But that's not how it works. Fats are essential. There is literally essential fatty acids that the body cannot make itself, and we need to get it through food. So there are many, many benefits of fats, but I have compiled 4 that I believe that you might want to hear about, and either take a mental note or take out your phone, open the notes app on your phone, and jot down the benefits of those healthy fats, because this might change your mind if you have been neglecting including fats in your diet. So the first benefit would be that fats keep us fuller for longer. Think about a time where you had a carb heavy meal, such as pizza or pasta, and you just felt so full that you wanted to collapse on the sofa and go into a food coma. You couldn't think clearly, you weren't really motivated to move either. But then after 2 hours or so, you started to feel hungry again, as opposed to a time when you had a meal such as eggs, avocado on toast, or steak and potatoes, and you felt energized, you felt satisfied, but not overly full, and you were full for hours. You didn't need to eat shortly afterwards. And that is because fats help to balance blood sugar levels, and they have a lower impact on insulin as opposed to carbs and protein. And hence why it is a good idea to include some fats in your meals to balance out the effect and balance out the spikes in blood sugar levels, because what goes up has to go down. And if you ever experience an afternoon crash, it is highly likely that it's because your insulin just shooted up really quickly, and then that blood sugar just fell down. So including fats actually allows us to stay fuller for longer, which will minimize snacking, but also avoid that energy dips as well. Fats also improve cognition and performance. They are responsible for our focus and memory. Brain cells are made up of 60% of fat. So those brain cells are wrapped up in this fatty tissue called myelin. If that breaks down, communication between brain cells slows down. And how does that might look in practice? When you don't have enough of those fatty acids and that myelin wrapping around your brain cells, you start to forget things. Maybe you recall a time where you went into the room looking for your keys, you stepped into a room, and then you completely forgot why you entered that room in the first place. And that is what happens when we don't have enough of that myelin. We don't have that communication in our brain for us to remember things effectively. So essentially, fats are important to maintain those levels of myelin so that you can have clear communication between your brain cells. Another benefit of fats is that they help to balance out the sex hormones, mainly estrogen and progesterone. And women need a balance between their female hormones in order to function optimally. If your diet lacks in healthy fats, then you might have too much estrogen and not enough progesterone. And what that can lead to is increased symptoms of PMS, such as bloating, acne, irritability, mood swings, or more severe period cramps. So including those fats and helping out to balance your sex hormones means that you can have more regular and enjoyable menstrual cycles. And the fourth benefit of including fats in your diet is that they help us look younger. Fats improve skin elasticity. As we age, the elastin in our skin breaks down, which leads to having wrinkles. Fats are a great source of vitamin A, vitamin E, and zinc, which all help with the production of collagen, which is what makes our skin nice and glowy. Not all fats are considered good fats. There are definitely better sources of fats than others. So I'm not telling you that you need to cook all your food in vegetable oils or have deep fried foods on daily basis. Some sources of healthy fats include things like avocado, eggs, your nuts, so different variations of nuts like walnuts, Brazil nuts, cashews, almonds, or natural nut butters. Then you have your seeds like pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, oily fish like salmon and mackerel. If you can get 2 to 3 servings of those healthy fats in your diet a week, then you'd be reaching that baseline of balanced hormones and reeking in the benefits that the healthy fats actually bring to how you feel and how you look. Secret number 7 to balanced hormones is to add a walk after your meals. This will help you stabilize and balance blood sugar and can prevent you from overeating. Think about it: when you finish a meal, you feel sluggish and unproductive. You're struggling to focus on a task, and it might take you at least 30 minutes before you get into a good flow of things. This is because food has a direct impact on insulin and blood sugar, which causes spikes and falls, and it has a direct impact on how we feel. So what I found is by adding a 10-minute short walk after consuming each meal, it actually helps with digestion and it helps to utilize that food, which means that we're enjoying a stable energy and avoiding these spikes and falls, which in turn allows us to stay more sharp, focused, and productive. Another benefit of adding a walk in after the meals is that it allows your gut to send signals to the brain that you are actually full. It takes roughly 20 minutes for our body to register that we have reached the fullness levels. So sometimes we might continue eating and eating and eating, and it isn't until a couple of minutes later that we're hit with that like uncomfortable feeling of just being too full. So by planning in a walk straight after consuming your meal, you're preventing yourself from reaching for the second portion or perhaps something sweet or a snack afterwards, and you're giving your body the time to register that you've actually have eaten enough. Where I personally found adding in a walk worked best is after dinner, because for me, it is the evening time that I tend to overeat or tend to crave something sweet. I think it's because it is coming to the end of the day and I don't have as much planned. I don't have much tasks that I need to get back to or work that I need to get into. And I have a lot more free time to just sit around. And it's a lot easier to just sit down, finish my dinner, and then perhaps go grab something out of the cupboards or the fridge and sit down in front of my tally. And then that's when it becomes problematic because you're mindlessly eating. And within minutes or even seconds, the whole bag of Pringles or Maltesers is gone. So by having a planned walk after that dinner, sitting down, enjoying my dinner mindfully with no distractions, throwing on my shoes, my coats, and getting outside without overthinking it, without pondering like whether it's cold, whether it's raining, whether I'm arsed or not, just going and getting outside helps to like gives me the time for my body to register, okay, you're actually full. And no, you don't need that snack or dessert. You are and actually pretty satisfied with the dinner that you had. Another thing that you're accomplishing by adding in those short walks throughout the day is that you're adding to your overall step count goal. And walking is such an underestimated activity, but it plays a tremendous role in our overall health. So studies have shown that in order to prevent any like cardiovascular or any serious disease, we should be walking at least 7,000 steps. And 7,000 steps might seem like a lot if you have to do all of those steps at once. But if you break your day into 3 or 4 10 to 15-minute walks, you wouldn't even notice that you are accumulating so much of your steps. So that way, then after your dinner, after you enjoyed your walk, you can really just chill out. So to summarize, secret number 7, just get moving throughout the day. And the most beneficial time to add in your walks is after you have eaten to help with that digestion, to help stabilize blood sugar so you don't experience those dips in energy. Secret number 8 to balance hormones is to be doing some form of resistant training, otherwise known as strength training. So what exactly is resistant training? As per the Google definition, resistant training is a form of physical activity that is designed to improve muscular fitness by exercising a muscle or muscle group against external resistance. So what contributes external resistance? This can be anything from dumbbell, kettlebell, barbells, resistant bands, or even your body weight. Essentially, any object that causes your muscle to contract. Although as a society, we have come a long way to break the misconceptions around strength training, many women still fear lifting weights because they believe that it will make them big and bulky. And I completely get it. For a long time, I stuck to cardio machines, running and walking, because I felt like these were the exercises that are gonna get me small and skinny. And I always viewed the weight room in the gym as an area for only men. And I feared that if I start lifting weight, I will look jacked and bulky. My mother, who is 48 years young, just done her first weight training session with me, and you don't even want to know how long it has taken me to convince her to start lifting weights. I have been going on and on about the benefits of strength training to her for years since I really got into it. But like many women, she was led to believe that if she starts to weight train, it's gonna make her look muscly and bulky. Look, I get it. Not everyone wants to look like they lift. I personally cannot relate. I think having muscles looks sexy as fuck. But regardless of what I think looks good or not, the idea that lifting weights is gonna make you big and bulky is simply not the case. Another misconception and another theory I hear from women is that they should stick to using lighter weight and doing higher reps if they want to look toned. That is also a lot of BS. Regardless of whether you do lightweight or heavyweight, it's going to build muscle. And that is a good thing. Having muscle and being able to maintain your muscle mass is a key component to longevity, and even more important as we age and we start to lose that muscle mass. Having a higher muscle mass also increases your metabolism, which means that you can burn more calories, which means you can eat more food without necessarily putting on a ton of excess fat, which is a win-win, I think. If you're somebody that loves food, because I know I'm a foodie, I would rather have more muscle so that I can burn more, so that I can enjoy more food without piling on a ton of weight. Strength training also has a direct impact on mood. It increases a hormone called dopamine, which is responsible of how we feel, and it decreases stress and uplifts our mood. You might recall a time where you really didn't want to go do your workout, get outside for a walk, or go to the gym, but you've done it anyway. And afterwards, you felt freaking tremendous. That's dopamine at play. Strength training can also improve your sleep. Nowadays, with the rise in technology and everyone glued to their phone, including myself, many people suffer from insomnia and sleep apnea, and very quickly reaching for sleep aids to help improve their sleep. Strength training releases serotonin, which improves good night's sleep. Serotonin also has a positive impact on mood, social behavior, appetite, and memory. And when it comes to our sex hormones, strength training helps with the production of testosterone. When it comes to testosterone, that can often be viewed as a male hormone, but we as women also need it. Testosterone helps with the production of human growth hormone, which also decreases as we age. In terms of estrogen, while this hormone helps us feel strong, energetic, like we're on top of the moon when it's our follicular phase, having excess levels of estrogen right before our period increases PMS symptoms. Strength training helps to detoxify and get rid of that excess estrogen. And lastly, strength training improves insulin sensitivity, which means that we can utilize and metabolize food better, and that decreases our risk of type 2 diabetes. All in all, as you can tell, strength training brings a ton of benefits, so much more outside just looking a certain way. It is freaking powerful. And if you care about longevity, if you care about your overall health, if you want to enjoy pain-free periods, if you want to be able to walk up the stairs and carry in your shopping at the age of 60, then you need to engage in some form of training. And for all my gal pals listening, sticking to cardio machines and being these cardio bunnies because that what you think is going to make you look toned, please incorporate some form of strength training, because that is the only thing that's going to help you build the body that you actually desire. Secret number 9 to balanced hormones is to manage your stress. And I cannot stress enough, pun intended, how important it is. And it's definitely not spoken about enough. It has impacts on our physical health, on our mental health, on our overall well-being, and our ability to progress within our fitness journey and keep those hormones happy and balanced. I could literally make a whole episode on just stress alone, but here are a few things that you should know. Stress increases a hormone called cortisol. When it's acute, it's not a negative thing, but over time, as it accumulates and it becomes chronic, that's when it starts to become problematic. So stress or cortisol in itself are not actually that bad and have some benefits. They help us get out of bed, they help us get through difficult times, they help to fight infection or bacteria. But when stress is not dealt with or managed and it becomes chronic, when our body is stressed, it's in a fight or flight mode. It does not prioritize our goals, but rather it's in survival mode. First of all, cortisol and our female hormones do not necessarily go hand in hand. And if we have too much of cortisol in our body, it can lead to things like missed periods, irregular periods, or the absence of periods, or even increased PMS symptoms or the severity of period cramps. High levels of stress also makes body composition changes a lot harder. Due to higher levels of stress, we either start eating more or we start eating too little. And both of them can be detrimental to the goal that we're trying to achieve. A lot of the times, we often will reach for foods that are either high fat or high sugar because we want something that is going to give us a dopamine release. Stress can also lead to emotional eating as we are using food to numb those negative emotions. Not to mention that motivation and energy to train are going to be gone out of the windows when we are at high levels of stress. Again, we are prioritizing survival. We are not prioritizing moving our body in a way that we know is supporting our well-being and our goals. So overall consistency is just not as great. Managing stress is a key pillar to balance hormones and overall health. And look, nowadays, hustle and grind culture is so glamorized, and that only increases our stress levels. And I am not here to tell you that you should eliminate all stress because I think that's unrealistic. At the end of the day, we have responsibilities that we need to take care of. And there are going to be periods of time that we're going to be under a lot more stress than others. But although you cannot completely eliminate it, there are definitely ways that you can manage it so that it doesn't become chronic and it doesn't start to have detrimental effects on your physical, mental health, and your overall well-being. So some of my favorite strategies to manage stress, and this is even for you if you don't think that you suffer from high levels of stress, because I am a firm believer that it's better to take a preventative route rather than waiting for a bigger issue to arise and then start dealing with it. So essentially, some of my favorite ways to manage stress is journaling. And that might sound airy-fairy because for you, maybe if you don't believe in like mindfulness, journaling, meditation, and whatnot. But what I mean by journaling is you could really start small by starting your day writing three things that you are grateful for. And they can be as small or as big as you wish. You could be writing the same thing continuously for 5 days. It doesn't matter. By sitting down and starting your day by writing three things you are grateful for, you are shifting your focus on the positives, what you already have. You can absolutely strive for more and be ambitious, but staying grounded and appreciative is actually going to make you identify more positive opportunities in the day. You are being thankful for what you have. And I really think that you cannot be mad or angry when you're grateful. So starting small and writing three things you're grateful for each day. Then you can move on to making it a little bit more elaborate and ending your day with three things that went good today. And that activity helps you to identify the positives that happened in that day. And also, by doing that, you are going into sleep feeling again just grateful and appreciative of what happened rather than maybe bitter about some situations that like annoyed you and then that having a negative impact on your sleep quality. And if you recall from secret number 3, sleep is a key component of balanced hormones. So journaling is something that I would totally start on, and you can start as simple as writing three things you're grateful for in the morning and then three things that went well in the evening, and it's going to take 5 minutes out of your day. Second protocol of managing stress is either meditation or yoga. And you can start super small here as well. I never believed really in meditation, but there is so much science behind it. And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I'm so consistent with it and I do it every single morning, because that's not the truth. And I want to get to the place where I do start my day even with 10 minutes of meditation, and my day with 10 minutes of meditation, because it actually frustrates me that I can't even find 10-20 minutes within my 16 hours that I'm awake to be still and just be with my thoughts. So I want to get better. I do it sporadically. I try to do it as often as I can, but I'm not at the point where I'm doing it consistently every day. But I do think it just allows you to check in and scan your own body first because before you give back to the rest of the world, and you're filling in your own cup, you're controlling. What I found meditation helps is it allows me to control my response because I cannot control what happens, but I can definitely control my reaction to what happens to me. So that's the benefit I found from meditation. And I think yoga just does a very similar thing. It just allows you to get away from your head and your thoughts into your body, and it incorporates movement as well. And the third protocol that I absolutely love for managing stress is moments of mindfulness. And I think you can find moments of mindfulness in absolutely anything that you do. Where I like to incorporate it is when I'm having my meals. So before, I used to be somebody that would be either eating on the go, eating in front of my laptop, eating in front of the telly, or like scrolling my phone while eating. Now I just try to have no distractions. What that allows me is actually having those mindfulness moments to myself because I'm simply not doing anything else other than just having my food. And it's that like 5 minutes, 10 minutes that I'm like, okay, just some time to just breathe and then focus on the task. And then being more present in the things that you're doing. So if you are catching up with a friend, really engage in the conversation with the friend instead of like scrolling social media. And same as like maybe you're visiting your parents, maybe you're visiting your grandparents or whatnot, like just engage with them, be present in those conversations and the time with those people instead of like multitasking as such. So the three top protocols that I find that really helped me with managing my stress levels were journaling, meditation slash yoga, and then moments of mindfulness. But getting on top of your stress before stress gets on top of you is honestly the best thing that you can do for your overall well-being and for balanced hormones. And my last secret to balance hormones, secret number 10, is to supplement smartly. It's not unintentional that I left this one till the end because although I do think that supplements have a role to play, I think they are not a necessity. And too many people jump for supplements as the first protocol because they want a quick fix. We are all impatient nowadays and we want results yesterday. So do I. But we're not like Amazon, and we unfortunately do not have next day delivery, and change is not going to happen overnight. And I feel that's what we're trying to get to when we opt for supplements. We're trying to like speed up our journey or the time that it will take for us to see results. But oftentimes we just spend a shit ton of money on things that we don't need. If we were to listen to everyone's advice on what supplements to take, we would end up with a cocktail of supplements that do absolutely nothing for us. I know a lot of them might be harmless, but essentially, why would you want to be pissing your money away? The thing is, supplements don't actually solve the issue at hand, they only mask it. It's like putting a plaster on a scar that needs stitches. Temporarily, it might make you feel somewhat good within yourself, but it doesn't solve the underlying issue. So my first protocol before you even look at any supplements is to get your bloods done and identify whether you have any deficiencies. Because if you do have any deficiencies, then at least you can supplement smartly and you can opt for the supplement that is going to help you the most. Before supplementing, optimize your diet because, as the word supplement suggests, they are there to supplement an already nutrient dense, balanced diet and lifestyle, such as regular exercise, good sleep, and managing stress. So, only until you have diet, exercise, sleep, and stress nailed down should you look into supplementing. and then getting your blood just done to identify what you actually need and whether there is an underlying lack, or a deficiency in something that you might consider supplementing. Now, I do think supplements have a role to play, like I mentioned. Otherwise, I wouldn't have included them in the 10 secrets to balanced hormones, because it will get to a point where even if you have optimized your diet, you still might be lacking in something. And we have come to an end of the 10 secrets of balanced hormones. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you got some value out of it. Again, if you've just finished this episode and haven't actually listened to part one of it, I would highly suggest you go back so that you have a full picture. And if you apply those 10 secrets to your life, your health, your well-being will improve tremendously. Now, if you're somebody that's just starting out, if you're listening to this and you're like, damn, there's so much that I need to improve, don't try and jump onto every single one of those secrets and try to implement all these habits at once, because you're just going to get overwhelmed. Take what you need, what you think is the most important for you at the moment. Pick one or two habits and implement that in your diet first and build on from that. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you in the next episode.